Man, we'll go down, authors, man. Hey, it's your boy, Mr. ANO, aka Mr. Anonymous. I know it's been a minute since I've been on here. I do a lot of spiritual work, but I mean, it's just as important to help those out that's on the same path as me. We don't emit the same vibrations, but we are the same. So I need to be showing y'all as much love as I show to the world because helping you help me helps you, and so forth and so forth. Today, I didn't really have no exact plot on how I'm going to work, how I'm going to describe my tips for today, but these are just thoughts that I've written down, little things that I have noticed in my processing, the way I write. And I'm hoping that if you also make the same mistakes, or if you also write in similar tactics and similar patterns or ways, that you will be able to also discriminate the difference in between what I'm saying and the way I basically I'm just saying what I'm saying, and exactly in what I mean in my thoughts. So like I said, I ain't have no exact plan of starting, but I would like to start right here because this is something that I used to do a lot, and it's also something that I ain't gonna say a lot of authors do, but I have read a couple books where it has been done or overdone. So first thing I would like to say is wordage. We have to be aware of our wordage. Everybody, nobody wants a short book. Nobody want a book that's too long. Most books are most certain types of books have certain recommendations, certain specifications when it comes to the amount of words used. Um, so with that being said, you would want to make your paragraphs short, simple, but yet tactile. If you understand what I'm saying. There's no point of overloading the paragraph with sensory details and everything that you feel, think, smell, hear, or envision in your mind and your imagination. You must break it down and put it into different parts of the story. For instance, if you're describing a main character, you can steadily, during different portions of the story, add different features. That way, by the end of the story, they will be able to see the full view without you just throwing it all in at once and what's the word? Losing their attention from your excessive wording. So I gave a short example, something that I consider sweet to the point, but yet gives you pretty much all that you need to know. Uh so here's my example. Boom. Hold on. Boom. Flashes of thunder flickered through the sky. Meow. A bolt of lightning ripped through a tree, causing it to fall, almost hitting a petite woman. Diving to the right, the woman blonde hair swayed on one way, while her glasses went another. Splashing into the mud, she stood up trembling. Her raincoat was useless, and now she was blind. If I don't make it to the cabin soon, I will get sick, she thought, unaware of the rumbling behind her. Now, just listen to that. Those was two paragraphs, two different paragraphs. But in them two paragraphs, not only was I able to display the scenery, we got mud, we got trees, so you know that it's obvious that she must be in the forest somewhere. I mentioned the cabin, so now the question is she on vacation? Does she stay in that forest? What is it? We know that it's raining, and we know that she's obviously soaked if her raincoat is useless? I mean, all of that. And then not only that, I also put in two future references. I put in the fact that she could be sick. She sit here and thought I could get sick. And then there's a rumbling in the air behind her that she's unaware of. So now that's two future references that I can draw to. Either she's gonna get sick or what's that rumbling noise behind her? It could be a car, it could be an animal, it could be anything. But I didn't overdo it. I didn't say, boom, a flash of thunder roared through the air, lightning knocked trees over. A girl with blonde hair, with swaying blonde hair, stood in the rain. Oh, she slipped, she fell. I didn't overdo it. I didn't put in too many actions. You can see all of this going on in your head just from what I'm saying, from the few words I said. And that's the point I'm trying to make right now. I'm trying to make that you don't have to use fancy words. It's not necessary. A lot of the times people don't even know what these big fancy words is. Ain't nothing more annoying than you having to consistently going back and forth to a dictionary. I will completely stop reading a book if I have to go to the dictionary back and forth. Like your book got to be real good for me to be sitting there jumping from dictionary to phone, dictionary to book, dictionary page, phone, page. Like, come on now. It's not it's not wanted. It's not needed. Uh so try your best to figure out how to word out your words to where you can use less, but explain more. Like bounty, less is more, or charming, because it's sure enough charming when you read a book and you don't have to you don't have to yawn in the midst of reading it because of a paragraph is too detailed or too filled. So that's just the basic. Something else I would like to mention, which is dealing with the wordages, words we use such as, if, and up. Yes, these words I currently came across because of the fact that I got a laptop, of course. I type in my laptop, and my word is always telling me, hey, you don't need this. You don't need that. You don't need this. You don't need that. So I was just throwing, I think it's two examples of what I mean. And if you use Word and use all these different programs, apps, and so forth that correct your writing, then you will understand what I mean. You will see, because I write everything originally in a notebook. Then I redo it. I type it into the laptop, which starts the editing process. So that's how I started figuring out my mistakes. So here's a example right here. The building was cold as a winter freeze. So once again, word as, we do not need to use the word as, like it's not necessary. And a lot of times when you use the word as, you're using more words. I came up with the same sentence, but this time I didn't use the words, and I used a same number of them. Inside the building, inside the building was colder than a winter breeze. Look, simple, plain, straight to the point. Didn't have to use the word as. As is a word that people use a lot, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's so many ways you can keep from using as. You could put a comma and then jump into the next, into your next part without using as. Most of the time, if that's the case, you would have to use maybe a future tense word. But end of the day, you're not using as. For instance, let me think. This is coming off the top of my head. So let me see. He jumped to his feet as the mailman came to his door. Now switch it up. Jumping to his feet, he ran to the door when the mailman came. Or I guess that'll work. Jumping through his feet, he ran to the door before the mailman came. Bam. Didn't use the word as at all. You see what I'm saying? Now, another word I use a lot that I mess up a lot is I use up. Lifting up, raising up, getting up. You don't have to use up. Up is just it's not necessary. Lifting the bundle of wood, the sheriff threw it into the fire. Lifting up the bundle of wood. You don't have to use up. Up is unnecessary. It is a waste of a word, it's a waste of a time. And once again, in most books, there's a certain amount of words that they're looking for. So every word that you can take out can doing help in your novel. That way you won't have to there'll be less to cut down. Another thing is using action words, verbs, and so forth to cut down words. For example, he ran to the back of the field. Running to the back of the field. He ran to the back of the field. There's 8 words. Running to the back of the field. There's 7 words. Just simple. So even if it's a word less, once again, it still adds or it subtracts from the end game, the end amount of wordage. So just simple. A second word besides, let's see, a third word, I said as, up, oh, and. Man, I use that a lot, and a lot of times that's not necessary. For example, leaping over a chair. No, it says throwing a punch and leaping over a chair. Bobby hit his target precisely in the nose. So instead of using the word and, I decided to switch up the sentence just a little bit, but it still pervades the same thing. Leaping over a chair, Bobby threw a punch, hitting his target precisely in the nose. And that also establishes what I was trying to say about as, because I didn't instead of saying leaping over a chair as he threw a punch, I just said leaping over a chair, Bobby threw a punch. So once again, it's subtracting words and it makes sense all at once. Also, it adds to me, it adds more character, it gives more attention because it's more action, more right now. And one thing that people are into is the right now. I mean, you can catch them with all that back to the past stuff, but really people ain't interested in that. They want to know what's going on now. How is it happening now? How is it moving now? So I'm just throw that in. Just a little something, just in case, You ain't know. But I'm pretty sure you did. I mean, cause man, people, if you can write, I know you got some good going on. You smart, and even if you ain't good with the editing process, you can always get somebody else to do it. But it's best to try to get as much completed and make your paperwork as correct as possible before passing it on. Because even if you do pass it on to another person, I have corrected people, I have edited people work, I have done papers for people, and they gave it back to me 2 3 times, and I did that, and they even looked over it themselves, plus allowing somebody else to look over it, and you still can find something wrong with it. It's not going to be perfect, but you want to make it as as quality as possible, as qualified as possible. Okay, now I didn't say about the wordage. Now I want to give a couple of ideas, not ideas, but tips, because a lot of times people believe in writer's block. I don't necessarily believe in writer's block. At this moment, I have 3 different projects I'm working on. I'm typing up book 2 of my Dragonborn series. I'm writing book 3 of my Dragonborn series, and I'm trying to get a contract on this website. So now I'm writing a new story called Lucy, Forbidden Dreams. So I'm gonna say it like this. This helps me out because I will never say I have writer's block. I have moments where I just don't be a fan of the ideas, maybe that's in my head, or I'm just not correlating or colliding with the ideas that or I want is I'm a I'm not perfect, but I'm a when I do something, it has to be worth it. So sometimes I will not work because I feel that forcing myself to work belittles my passion. It belittles the idea and the creativity that could that it could be granted. So with that being said, I would like to say doing if you only have one project, understandable. If that's the case, what I do, I black, I close my eyes. I mean, I do this anyway. It's part of it's a spiritual thing for me to close my eyes, lay there for an hour, and just think. I have so many thoughts that come to my head regarding books, regarding feelings and emotions that I may not even be aware of. Thoughts, all kinds of stuff come to my consciousness, come to my presence. Uh Mostly ideas of my book, um thoughts of what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna do it, thoughts of the future, thoughts of different things I study. But since I'm always thinking about my book, I mean I wake up thinking about my book. It's very hard for me to focus on anything else. But with that being said, that is one way that I use just laying down being in silence with my eyes closed and letting my thoughts run and flow is one way that I've come up with a lot of ideas. Another is through dreams, and my final is once again just through regular meditation, through closing my eyes and letting images and pictures form, and through that I collect, I add, I remove, rearrange, and I do all kinds of different functions in order to come up with a chapter. Also, I would like to say, keep you a journal or a notebook because you never know when an idea gonna come to you, and you always want to be prepared and ready for that idea. So that's just something I'm gonna throw in there. And my final tip, oh, almost forgot. So for those who are working on multiple projects, if you ever come across times where you are feeling like, oh well, I don't want to write, I can't create at the moment, type, edit. It will take your mind off of the creative process while putting you still in a even while keeping you in the creative process, but keeping you also productive because you're still working on you, working on your dream, working on your goal, working on your story or on a story in some kind of way. And so now my final thing I would like to say is it's a cheat code for this is a cheat code for like concentration. So if you don't know, as humans, we have different state of mind, different frequency waves that our mind places out, different moments of the day, different parts of our day, like sleep, waking up, and all of that. They're alpha, theta, beta, gamma, alpha, theta, beta, gamma, and I think it's another one. But anyway, our alpha wave is our wave is the wave of concentration, creativity, studying, and imagination. So alpha wave is a wave that normally you slide into after about a good 30 minutes of focusing on a specific subject or a specific um item, product, or whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. On a specific detail. So once you, after like 30 minutes of focus, you enter this alpha state of mind. But there is a way to enter an alpha state of mind without necessarily jumping straight into the focus. One is through light meditation, closing your eyes, breathing in through the breath. Couple breaths can enter you into an alpha state of mind. And another way is classical music. Classical music, it switches up the brain pattern, it switches up the brain waves, music like Mozart, Beethoven, and stuff like that, pianos, instrumentals, and stuff like that. Something smooth, classic, quiet, not all that banging, which actually, because a lot of bass, banging, and loud frequencies and pitches is what causes the brain to dysfunction and, you know, bounce everywhere. Classical music is a great help to concentration, focusing, and creating. Also, I like to play gaming music or cinematic music. And I also like to listen to abundance meditations and music, sounding of money and so forth. Because I mean, if that don't give you a fire in your energy, I mean, I don't know what to say because as much as I love writing, I would love I love getting paid to do what I love to do too. But man, this video was way longer than I intended it to be. But I know and I hope that you was able to get something out of it. Thank you for your time. You have a wonderful day. You keep creating, keep being you, and keep up the good work. This your boy Mr. ANO, aka Mr. Anonymous. And I know what I'm saying. Chunking up the deuces. You have a good one.